the TikTok party. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Well, Mr. China came to Washington today, and it was quite a spectacle.
We have heard important concerns about the potential for unwanted foreign access to U.S. data and potential manipulation of the TikTok U.S. ecosystem. Our approach has never been to dismiss or trivialize any of these concerns. We will firewall protected U.S. data from unwanted foreign access.
Can you do surveillance of other Americans?
We will protect the U.S. user data and fire it all from all unwanted foreign access. It's a commitment that we've given to the committee.
I wanted to hear you say with 100% certainty that neither ByteDance nor TikTok employees can target other Americans with similar surveillance techniques as you did with the journalist.
Again, I don't disagree with the characterization. I think it's our commitment that we will not be influenced by any government on these issues.
DOJ is investigating this surveillance right now. A ban is only a short-term way to address TikTok, and a data privacy bill is the only way to stop TikTok from ever happening again in the United States.
That your parent company, ByteDance, currently can access user data. Yes?
We have to be more specific.
Yes.
After Project Texas, no.
I'm not asking after Project Texas, I'm asking now. Yes.
Some user data is public data, Congresswoman, which means everybody can search
What's
for it on the
interesting
internet.
to me is that you have used the word transparency over 6 times in your opening testimony and subsequently again in your answers to my colleagues. Yet the interesting thing to me is that ByteDance, your parent company, has gone out of their way to hide and airbrush corporate structure, ties to the CCP.
That was wild. Now, it was back in July of 2020. I don't know if you remember this, but I pressed the former CIA director and then Trump Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, on the threat posed by TikTok. Shouldn't we be considering right now, tonight, a ban on Chinese social media apps, especially TikTok?
I don't want to get out in front of the president, but it's something we're looking at.
Would you recommend that people download that app on their phones tonight, tomorrow, anytime currently?
Only if you want your private information in the hands of the Chinese Communist Party.
Now, exactly 1 month after that interview aired, then President Trump signed an executive order that would have essentially banned TikTok in the United States. But in June of 2021, Biden fully reversed the ban. Now, since then, the intel assessments about TikTok have only gotten worse.
1/6 of American youth say they're constantly on TikTok. That's a loaded gun.
So why hasn't Biden reversed course? First, because China owns Biden. Now, we know from Biden bank records that his family has made big money there, and Biden's team is doing everything in its power to suck up to China daily. At this point, there's literally nothing that the CCP can do that's going to push Biden off his super engagement mission. So why would Biden risk offending his benefactor over some stupid app? And the second reason the TikTok app is still in the Apple Store is China's army of high-paid lobbyists, consultants, law firms, and even former congressmen. They're crawling all over Capitol Hill, flexing their muscle, and they're making their case. Now, these people are what Trump was referring to when he said drain the swamp. They're fine with selling out their own country as long as that monthly retainer check doesn't bounce. And then there's the senior staff at TikTok itself. Now, they're even worse, refusing to answer simple questions about the persecution of religious minorities in China.
Do you agree that the Chinese government has persecuted the Uyghur population?
If you use our app and you open it, you will find our users who give all sorts of content.
That's not my question.
Well, it's deeply concerning to hear about all accounts of human rights abuse.
I think
what
you're
our
being
platform
pretty
does
evasive.
on this.
It's a pretty easy question.
Congresswoman, I'm here to describe TikTok and what we do as a platform.
Well, indifference shared by folks like Michael Beckerman, TikTok's head of public policy. Now, you saw him sitting behind Mr. Chu today at the hearing with a very smug, self-satisfied look on his face. Well, here he was 3 months ago on CNN.
Do you acknowledge that the Chinese government has these Uyghurs and others in concentration camps?
Well, that's not something that I focus on.
You work for a Chinese government company, and the Chinese are accused of concentration camps and ethnic genocide.
You can find all this content on TikTok.
But why won't you acknowledge that? I mean,
I'm just not an expert on what's happening in China.
Pond scum. How is Beckerman different from any senior member of the Communist Party at this point on this issue? Look, he does their propagandizing for them. As long as ByteDance owns TikTok, the CCP has the ability to vacuum up as much information on users of TikTok as they want, contrary to what Mr. Chu was trying to argue today.
Do any ByteDance employees in China, including engineers, currently have access to U.S. data?
This is a complex topic. Today, all data is stored by default.
No, it's not that complex. Yes or no, do they have access to user data?
After Project Texas is done, the answer is no. Today, there is still some data that we need to delete.
But we've heard already from the ranking member that he doesn't really see that Project Texas is going to be useful.
Well, this is ludicrous. At any time of day or night, now and a year from now, President Xi or any CCP official can demand user data, and he'll be given user data. In fact, even Chu couldn't deny that top staff at ByteDance are in fact members of the Communist Party.
Logic would tell us that there are a fair number of your employees who are members of the Chinese Communist Party, at least a dozen or so, who have access to this data. Isn't that so?
Again, like I said, I can ask one or two people. We don't have a policy to ask everybody.
So sleazy. Now, even though we knew that China was stealing user data, we've allowed TikTok's reach to metastasize. Now there are a staggering 150 million TikTok users in the United States. Mr. Chu was bragging about that today. So this begs the question, why did we even need a congressional hearing at this point? No matter what Chu says about corporate firewalls and transparency, he ultimately answers to the CCP. He slips up, and he knows that just like other CEOs, he could be disappeared overnight.
In principle, we want to provide, a good experience for our users in general. We actually put in more restrictions to make sure that our teenagers get a better experience. The majority of people who use our platform use it for positive experiences. There's so many people love the app. It's a great experience.
Yeah, the Uyghurs are having a real positive experience. And when he didn't want to answer questions, he used a tried and true trick in response.
Would you commit to not selling your data to anyone?
I can get back to you on the details. Okay. I can get back to you on the specifics. Okay. I'll look into the specifics. I don't have specifics. Congressman, I need to check on these specifics. I need to look at the specifics of the report, Congressman, and I can get back to you on that. Right. So I want to be precise, and I'll get back to you.
All day long, Mr. Chu labored to reassure the committee that TikTok is working hard on their new corporate plan to cordon off the operation from prying eyes.
We have designed Project Texas to protect U.S. user interests and to move forward here in the U.S. Again, it's the protections of storing American data on American soil by an American company looked after by American personnel.
Now, it's scrambling to stave off an all-out ban, so TikTok proposed a $1.5 billion corporate reorganization, kept referring to it, called Project Texas, very clever, insisting that all data would be stored in the U.S. And as he said, those servers would be run by Americans at Oracle. But just recently, after studying that very proposal, the Committee on Foreign Investment said that that proposal failed to address the data vulnerability issue. Only getting the company out of Chinese hands would address that problem.
China's 2017 national intelligence law states very clearly that, quote, any organization or citizen shall support, assist, and cooperate with state intelligence. In other words, ByteDance and also your TikTok employees that live in China, they must cooperate with Chinese intelligence whenever they are called upon. If the CCP tells ByteDance to turn over all data that TikTok has collected inside the U.S.
Congressman, first, I'm Singaporean.
That's fine, but there are employees of yours and ByteDance's in China.
We understand this concern. We built something where we take that data and put it out of reach.
Even Democrats didn't seem to be buying it today. That Mr. Chu was creepy, not credible.
I still believe that the Beijing Communist government will still control and have the ability to influence what you do. And you're trying to give the impression that you're a good actor, but the commitments that we would seek to achieve those goals are not being made.
But throughout the day, and it was very long, and getting hammered by both parties, the London and Harvard-educated Mr. Chu kind of kept his cool. It was almost like he knew that in the end, Biden would never sign a bill banning TikTok into law. It was just a few weeks ago that the White House had come up with a middle ground, suggesting that ByteDance sell TikTok. Then that would mollify concerns of both parties and Americans across the country. Well, so much for compromising with the Chinese. Today, just hours before that Hill hearing, China gave the symbolic middle finger to Biden, announcing that it was rejecting the idea of selling TikTok. I wonder why. Now, will the establishment ever learn that you cannot meet China halfway on any issue like this? Their aim is simple. It's to conquer the United States in any way they ultimately can, through influence, presence, what have you. And this would mean it would be fine for many in the regime media, by the way, who seem to have already given up on America. Check out how the New York Times characterized the question facing Washington about whether to ban TikTok. This was today. Some of the world's largest news organizations, including the New York Times, now have TikTok accounts, meaning that shutting down the app could appear to be shutting down the spread of fact-based news to counter Chinese disinfo. Well, first, that the New York Times will ever be a reliable counter to China is laughable. Plus, remember all their efforts to counter so-called COVID misinformation? Now, the only answer here is to force Biden's hand. Congress must immediately pass legislation to ban the TikTok app in the United States. It's long since time. Then Biden can choose to protect the priorities of the CCP or to protect national security and privacy concerns of the American people. The choice is quite simple, and that's the angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.